Welcome one and all, I'm Decoy, back with some more cool and unique camp locations for you. Starting off in the forest, as always, except this time we've got an alcoholic settler. Because why not? Yeah, this guy just hangs out here, drinking, just enjoying life until he gets harassed by a mongrel. He does seem to handle it fairly well, but just be aware, if you camp here, a hostile dog may spawn in, and there's that chance that he's going to be too drunk to handle it. You also get this nice little shack full of empty beer bottles, also a couple actual beers that you can take. You got the wood pile, and you get a free cooking stove, which is pretty darn nice. Simplistic little shack, but it is pretty darn flat on top, so you can throw whatever you want on top of it. But I really feel like this place, with the settler being an alcoholic, I feel like it's just begging for a bar to be made. So overall, pretty cool spot. Location-wise, it is pretty darn close to 76. Again, it's a fairly popular area, so that people can get a free fast travel and then run over and see what you're selling. Now let's go to Toxic Valley. Oh yeah. Now this spot, not a whole lot going on here, but I definitely appreciate the open build area right here. That's really what caught my eye. I know, not really any containers or anything super spectacular, but I like the build area right here, and you do get a free settler, which, I mean, hey, free NPC roaming around your camp's always cool, unless you have a pet, in which case they're going to try to shoot it in the face, which isn't cool. But hey, free settler. Pretty darn nice view out there. Well, as nice as it can be for Toxic Valley. But Toxic Valley always looks way cooler at nighttime than it does during the day. So, with the spot, you got a nice little build area. You got the settler. You've got a somewhat decent view. Location, it is going to keep you a little bit closer towards the center. I know, not quite. We're kind of right between the center and bottom right. But you're going to be super close to the Pioneer Scout Camp. Overall, not a horrible location. Now, let's go to the Ash Heap. Now, this location, I really just threw it in so I could talk about certain types of locations out in the world. Because this location, there's not a lot going on here. I mean, it's nothing super special, but I feel like locations like this one that are spread around the world, we're begging for an NPC to spawn here. And it doesn't have one. Instead, like the previous location, we had an NPC just hanging out on the edge of the cliff with nothing around. I mean, whatever settler would have been hanging out here has a fish as a pillow. That automatically gives them some kind of interesting backstory. I mean, who uses a friggin' fish as a pillow? Now, if for some reason you're wanting to check this spot out and work it into a build, I can't imagine too many people would want to do that. But you'll find it right over here. Again, hopefully, maybe down the road they'll put an NPC there. You never know. Now to the Savage Divide, and a spot that I camped at for a really long time early on in the game. This spot is awesome because you get a junk pile. And back in the day, I mean, that was why I camped here. There was a junk pile, and no one camped there way back when I was camping there. Now, all the area under this huge, oh, I don't want to call it a pylon, but you know what I'm aiming at. Like, this was just empty, and now there's 2 raiders hanging out here. You got all sorts of random good stuff down here. Of course, you got, like, the rad stag that person's carving open, which, honestly, pretty darn cool that the NPC interacts with it. Hold on, let me, I'll turn on my Pip-Boy here in a second, but we do have a toolbox. You have, like, a fake bed. You have a sleeping bag. And then the Nuka Cranberry. That's a solid find. I believe I just walked on top of a cooking station. We got the suitcase. And you also get, like, a little bit of a perimeter fence around the area. So you may be able to patch up pieces of that. Overall, it is a really solid location. I camped there for quite a long time, way back before that we had NPCs. And that seems like a solid raider camp setup. Just, you're starting off with 2 raiders, throw in, what is it, the raider punk? Now you've got 3 raiders at your camp. That's a darn good start. Now to the mire, where this location isn't super spectacular, except for the fact that that trough is cool as heck, and I wish that was something we could build. Why is it some of these locations get way cooler items than, I can make? It's not fair, alright? I want to build blood troughs. I mean, is that asking for too much? I've already got plenty of skull totems and Mothman totems. Where's my blood and my skeletons and all that good stuff? Now, the trough, I'm going to walk over to it. It is actually full of blood, which is pretty darn cool. But this is a cultist spawn, so you got to deal with the fact that a cultist is going to be here, which kind of takes away from it just a little bit. Location-wise, you are going to be way up, high up in the mire. Again, I don't know how many people are going to really want to be that far up in the mire, but darn, that trough is cool. Now let's head down to the Cranberry Bug, where we're going to another Mothman location, or cult location. Now, I am a little bit jealous of their totem up there, because we can build that totem, except we don't get all those crazy vines hanging off of it. And I kind of dig that look more than the one that we can build. Well, at least those of us that picked it up in the atomic shop at one point. Now again, cultist spot. Of course, cultists are going to spawn here just the way it is. You do get a fairly nice looking bonfire, but that totem is really the centerpiece of this area. And then if you can see it off in the distance, see the balloons over there? There's a random spawn nearby. So there's no telling what's going to be down that way. Again, totem super cool. My favorite out of all the locations today was definitely the Savage Divide. If you want to camp here, you'll find it right over here. But that's pretty much going to wrap up all the locations. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to make another one of these yet or not. I'm kind of debating it. But I hope you've enjoyed it. As usual, please remember to like, sub, and share. Later.